ShortAlgo here, and today we are going to be doing a daily recap of all of the stocks that we traded over the course of today, and one of the long positions that we closed. So the long position that we're reviewing is ETTX, that's Etasis Therapeutics, and in terms of the short positions, we'll be looking at stock ticker VVOS, that's VVOS Therapeutics, TKAT, TKAT, XSPA, Expressa Group, EOLS, EOLS Inc., ATXI, Avenue Therapeutics, and NXTD, that's NXTD. Great, so let's get into it. And today is December 17th, 2020. So the first one we're going to be looking at is ETTX, and what we're going to be looking at is the program ShortAlgo, where it clearly shows the buy and short signals, and we can see that it actually delivered perfect trades in this particular instance. We're looking at the 5 minutes charts as well as a range of 6. This is a customizable solution, so you can adjust it according to your trading strategy and the volatility. So whether you're a day trader or trading something a little bit more long, this particular instance was again a long trade. And if we actually zoom out, so right now we're looking at the 5-minute window, but why don't we look at something a little bit more aggressive, maybe, well, less aggressive, like the 30-minute. Just so you can get a better sense of how the stock performed over time. So when you adjust the time range, you're also going to be adjusting the volatility here. So we're going to adjust the volatility here to be a little bit, to give it a little bit of a better sense of the peaks, so the lows and the highs. This looks about right. So I'm going to zoom out here just to get a better sense. And what we can see is that what we're really looking for is that the buys trigger at the bottom and the shorts trigger on top. Now, the reason why that's important is not so much for the present moment, because you're not going to get a sense if you're looking at it from right here. But if you zoom out, you'll get a better sense of how the particular ticker performed over time. So if we have the right ranges in place, we can actually apply it to future movements because the patterns tend to repeat themselves. So looking at the past, we saw that it always has a massive pullback where you have the buy and then the shorts, and you see how long it actually runs. So it did this 4 times over the course of the last 8-9 months, and the last pullback was quite massive, quite substantial, where it went all the way from $2.75 down to $1.59. So there's definitely an opportunity for a PR blitz to deliver some parabolic movements. And what we actually see is these 3 lines: this yellow, the white, and the blue or pink. I'm not 100% sure of that color because I'm colorblind. But what you see is it actually touched the low point. Well, it set the low point here, so the 30-week low. And then it did something very interesting, which is it ran all the way up to a 3-week high, and it touched this level of support that it always seems to get stuck on, well, level of resistance. And sure enough, from there, that's where we're currently standing. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. It could potentially pull back, but the biggest thing here is that we got notified with a well in anticipation of the buy signal, and we had an opportunity to benefit from that. So if we actually look at how we performed on this particular trade, ETTX, yep, we had a 48% return on that. So that was very healthy. We picked it up at around 176, 178, and we closed out very close to here, which is 259. So lots of upside here. So now let's look at some of the other trades, specifically some of the shorts. Here you can see VVOS. We shorted it today, 13% down. TKAT, 25% down. XSPA, 20% down. EOLS, 11% down. ATXI, this one was very interesting because a lot of a lot of signals to help us understand that this was going to be a short squeeze, and then we waited right till the very end to open up a short position. That went down 9.7%, and then NXTD, which went down 14%. So let's look at some of these charts. So here we can see VVOS, that's VVOS Therapeutics, and again we set our short algo to have the right ranges in place. Again, we're looking at how it performed over the course of the last few days, weeks, try to figure out the peaks and the right range and time set that applies to it, and then we set it to present day movements. So here you can see that there were quite a few opportunities for swing trading. We saw that it wasn't pulling back a significant amount, and there's a lot of volume here. So we really waited until the last minutes to open up a short position. We usually like to open up short positions when the market opens for most of the retail, which is at 9:30. And then from there, again, just plan our day accordingly. If you do that before then, you could potentially see a lot of volatility and get caught in a bad position, especially if you're shorting. So with these parabolic movements, we usually like to wait until the open after 10 o'clock in some instances, but in many instances we might do it right before then. But most of the trades that we executed were in the 9 to 10 o'clock range. So let's go on. Let's look at this particular chart. And you can actually see at the peak where we got the signal. It executed at a high of 1238 and a low of 1133. And the low point that it reached was $8.30. So massive opportunity to benefit from this. It actually hit this range very early on in the day. So you wouldn't have had to hold this for too long, maybe an hour and a half to really hit some substantial numbers. So let's look at the next chart. Next chart is TKAT. TKAT, we saw the same thing where we zoom out, we try and get a better sense of the ranges, the best ranges that applies to this security. And we see that it always has a pullback. So we applied the corresponding ranges. And sure enough, it applied perfectly to the trades that we experienced today. With each one of these swings, there was the possibility to deliver a minimum of 5% returns either ways with a very healthy safety net in place. XSPA, this one has a ton of value, 70 million share floats, very low institutional and insider ownership. So that was only at 7%. So what was actually very interesting is the percentage of this particular security that's shorted. It's sitting at 9%. And we tend to see that again, it does run up and then it pulls back. In this particular instance, we just felt that it ran way too high up. So as soon as we got the signal, we opened up our short position. The signal fired at $1.82, and then this went all the way down to let's see, what was that? The low of $1.34. So again, massive opportunity to benefit from that particular security. Look at some of these other trades. EOLS. Now, this is interesting because usually when the stock is flat like this for an extended period of time, we tend to see that it'll have a massive run up, and then it can squeeze. It can squeeze to some very high numbers, right? So we're always a little bit cautious when we're shorting these stocks that tend to be relatively flat. In this particular instance, what we saw is that it had a massive pullback and then it jumped right back up. So again, our short algo identified the bullish and the bearish pattern, and then it gave us plenty of opportunity to short. The short would have been at a high of 494, low of 475, and then that would have run us all the way through to $3.60. So massive opportunity to take advantage of that. Then we saw a buy signal, which would it's an opportunity to cover. We don't really recommend using the buy signal and the short signals as a buy sell, where the short should really be its bearish momentum. Have a number in place with your strategy, whether it be a 5% return or 4% return. Lock the profits in, and then lock your capital in from your initial investment. And then any profits that you made from that, you can continue playing with that. And if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and write this down, 10%, 15%, 20%. But again, it's a way of averting any risk. Next security we're going to be looking at is ATXI. So this was interesting because it ran from $11.08, and over the course of under a month, it went all the way to $2.84. So there's definitely an opportunity for it to make some movements back up. We're seeing a couple of different stocks in the market right now that have a very similar pattern, and if you're interested in understanding about some of those, feel free to reach out to us. But this one had a very clear buy signal in place. We're looking at the 15-minute over an extended period of time, and sure enough, we got the buy signal. It triggered and it ran up. We had to hold it for a little bit longer than we wanted to, but it actually ended up running up. We sold early, and then once it's got its peak, we started shorting again. So this was a nice swing play. We didn't have the opportunity to short it all the way back here in August 25th. But most of the shorts that we do run are over the course of a couple of hours. We're not huge fans of shorting over the course of 2-3 days because anything can happen, and especially in this market where there's been so many parabolic plays that have run over multiple days. We try to avoid those when possible. And the last one that we're going to be reviewing is NXTD. So NXTD is very interesting because again, it's got that pattern where it always jumps up and shoots right back down. And in this particular instance, what it did was it ran up, and this is a security with 30 million share float, and institutional insider ownership is set at 28%. So a lot of internal support, which is great. A little bit of a higher float, but that's fine. And what we see is that again, we always have that pattern. So sometimes it does jump up, and when it jumps up, it's 15-20%. Today happened to be one of those higher jumps that it made, those parabolic movements, and it did that in the past. Again, it hit that resistance line, which was at $1.51, and you can see that just when it was approaching it, it reached some resistance, and that's when a lot of individuals sold their position. So this would have been an opportunity to do a swing trade where you shorted it and then buy again into it if the signal came up and the bullish pattern came in, and then run it all the way up to the next signal, which is a short. So we're expecting that there's going to be some pullback here tomorrow, but again, we're not holding it overnight. We're going to play it by ear, see what happens tomorrow, and then take it from there. But there's definitely an opportunity for some profit taking. So let's watch and see what happens tomorrow. Thank you for watching the technical video. If you're interested in improving your overall trading strategy, we recommend you start a 7-day free trial with ShortAlgo. This tool is designed to help traders easily identify buy and short opportunities across stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and CBOE. ShortAlgo merges 15 unique indicators into simplified signals that are delivered in real time. Start your free trial today.